So we were having discussion on this from many days. So especially aparadhas, offenses. So we see when we come in our spiritual life, one of most important thing is that we take shelter of the holy name and we serve devotees. And one of the thing which we have to be very careful about is not to commit offenses. And it is mentioned here the offense and sin. So there is a difference between offense and sin. So there are two verses which are mentioned here to highlight the difference between offense and sin. So the activity which are done by the body, words, and the mind under the influence of the false ego or bodily consciousness for enjoying the material senses are known as sins. Sins are thus related to the material body, not to the spirit soul. They have their effects only on the body and mind. So offenses, they are known as Vajralep, and sins, they are known as a Dhuli-lep. So it is very easy to clean off the sins, but it is very difficult to clean off the offenses. Sins are related to the material body, whereas the offenses are related to the spirit soul. So the temporary effects, they are known as sins, whereas those which affect the soul, they are known as aparadhas. So sin refers to those actions which are condemned in the scriptures, and they can be nullified by remedial measures which are mentioned in the scriptures. Whereas offense is related to the Lord. So when we disrespect or neglect anything related to Lord, it may be Lord himself, or it may be Lord's paraphernalia, it may be Lord's dham, or it may be Lord's devotees, then that becomes an aparadha, that becomes an offense. So the difference between offense and sin. The adverse mood arises from false ego and creates a gap between the exalted devotee and a sadhaka, devotee practicing devotion for attaining prema. Aparadha, by its very nature, is opposite to bhakti. So aparadha, so radha means satisfaction, and aparadha means which reduces the satisfaction, that is aparadha. Or radha means giving pleasure to Krishna, and aparadha means which gives displeasure to Krishna. So aparadha means an act that dissatisfies the Bhagavan, the holy name, the Guru, and the Vaishnavas. Therefore, it is very powerful. It destroys the foundation of bhakti. It results either in the disappearance of bhakti or the drying up of the root of bhakti. So as such, whatever bhakti one has done, that always remains. But the disappearance of bhakti means that bhakti which he has performed will be covered over, and he will act like a materialistic, forgetting whatever bhakti he had done in the past. So that's how he will appear. And drying up the root of the bhakti. Now he will not have any taste in practice of spiritual life. So one of the very first thing which a sadhaka can see the moment he commits offenses, his taste in spiritual life will go down. That is a symptom one can see that maybe because I am offending the devotees. So one who thinks himself exalted though fallen, wise though unwise, disrespects or neglects the Mahat, thinking them to be worldly men. Mahat refers to Guru, Vaishnava, and the entities residing in the holy Dham. All of them have transcendental bodies. Thinking them to be worldly nature is known as Mahat Aparad. Considering them to be mundane, but externally giving them respect is also disrespect. And it deprives one of the satisfaction, affection, and the mercy of the compassionate Mahat Purushas. So, not knowing the value of Krishna or Krishna's devotees. And one may be offering obeisances externally, but in the heart, he does not have that respect. In the heart, he does not know the value of the devotees. Then also, he will not have satisfaction or affection and the mercy of the compassionate Mahat Purushas. Now, so here it is mentioned, the moment we start offending devotees, then what happens? One thing I told was that one loses that taste for spiritual life. Another thing which happens, as mentioned in this verse, is that we lose the value for Krishna and for things connected to Krishna. All divine and transcendental things will appear very mundane and ordinary. Where it is mentioned, Arche Vishnu Siladhir Gurushu Narmatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhi Vishnu Va Vaishnavanam Kalimalha Matane Pati Tembu Buddhi श्री विष्णु नामनि मंत्रे सकल कौल से शब्द समान बुद्धि विष्णु सर्वेश्वर से तद इतरः समधीर्यस्य वा नारकी सह. So the moment we develop this offensive attitude, then the Archa Murti of the Lord will appear like a stone. The spiritual master will appear like an ordinary human being. Vaishnava will appear belonging to a particular caste. Mantra will appear like a material vibration. So like this, a person loses the value, the spiritual value of these divine things, and they will appear mundane and material. He cannot understand the glory of the holy name. He cannot understand the glory of the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord. He cannot understand the glory of a Vaishnava in his life. Why? Because of offensive attitude. He considers them ordinary. He feels, oh, what is this? This is just a stone statue standing in front of me. He does not understand that Pratimana Lagi Tumi Shakshat Vrjendra Nandana, that it is nothing but Shakshat, the Lord. He does not understand that how holy name of the Lord is not different from Krishna, and how by the mercy of the Lord I got this fortune to chant the holy names of the Lord. He does not understand the glory of the Vaishnava. He thinks that, oh, they just keep me following up for certain things. He does not understand that how by great fortune I have received the association of Vaishnavas. So like that, he develops Jati Buddhi. It is mentioned, Vaishnava Jati Buddhi. He develops this Jati Buddhi. Then he develops Ambu Buddhi, where he treats things as ordinary. Then he develops Samanya Buddhi. He considers uh, the mantra as ordinary or mundane. And then Naraki Saha, he develops hellish intelligence. That is mentioned here. So this is very nice. And the difference between modern culture and Vedic culture is that in the Vedic culture, things were considered very sacred. Whereas in the modern culture, because of this offensive attitude, everything appears very ordinary. In the Vedic culture, you will find people had so much gratitude for their grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, for their land of birth, for everyone who helped them in some way. And they had so much sacredness for the temple of the Lord, so much sacredness for holy scriptures, holy names. Whereas in the modern culture, we see because of this offensive attitude, disrespect, neglect, everything appears ordinary. Children, they don't have any gratitude for parents. They don't have any gratitude for the place of birth. And they don't feel any sacredness in the holy scriptures, in the temple of the Lord, when they meet the devotees of the Lord. Why? Because of this offensive attitude. Everything becomes very ordinary. Everything appear to be very mundane, like this. And unless this offensive attitude goes, we can't appreciate Krishna. we can't appreciate Krishna consciousness. We can't understand the value of Krishna. We can't understand the value of Krishna consciousness also. So that is the reason why so much is being spoken in the scriptures about avoiding the Vaishnava offenses. So one of the reason why this happens is that because of this offensive attitude which we develop. So we were discussing from many days that how this offensive attitude can come. So in the last class we discussed was that how sometimes the environment around or the people around or the situation around may be aggressive, and we may justify our being aggressive because of it. But then we were discussing that how, although the environment, the surrounding around may be aggressive or tempting, but then that does not give a justification to be offensive in nature. We have to be careful that because of horizontal environment, we don't affect our vertical connection to God. Another thing which affects or because of which we may not be careful or we may offend is because of sukha and dukkha in the material world. So what happens when a person gets a dukkha, he becomes bewildered and he may offend others. Or if a person gets sukha, then also he may become bewildered and he may offend others. So by dukkha, what happens is a person becomes disturbed. And by sukha, what happens is a person becomes distracted. So sukha leads to distraction and dukkha leads to disturbance. So we see that how in case of Indra, when he was performing a yajna and he called Vishwarup and he appointed Vishwarup to perform yajna, who was son of Twista. But then while performing yajna, Vishwarup from his father's side he was related to demigods, and from his mother's side he was related to demons. So in between he was also putting ahuti for demons because he was having equal disposition for both. And when Indra came to know this, that array, secretly he is putting oblations for demons also. Can you imagine? He became so affected. The Brahmana priest whom he called for performing yajna, Indra killed him. Indra beheaded him because he could not tolerate that. How can he do so much? And then we see that for 1 year he had to run here and there. And later on we see that how Tusta became angry, then Vittasur was born. So why this happened? Because he became so affected by dukkha. He became so affected how something like this can happen like that. And because of which he became like that. Same way we see Indra again, when Brihaspati came, so Indra was in so much opulence. He was having heavenly damsels dancing in front of him. He was having so much luxury, so much opulence. So now when Brihaspati came, he got carried away by that distraction of Sukha. So although Brihaspati came, he did not bother to pay respects to Brihaspati because he became so haunted by or so intoxicated by the luxury, opulence, enjoyment. And then we see again he committed an offense to Brihaspati. And then Brihaspati thought, what is this? He is not understanding. I have come. He is a spiritual master and still he is not paying obeisances to me. And then again Indra had to suffer. So we see that these two things, they have a tendency that because of dukkha, sometimes a person becomes so disturbed that he does not understand. And sometimes he becomes so distracted by sukha, by happiness, that he does not understand. Same way we see when Nahusha, he was made a king. And he became a king because Indra was not there. So for some time he was appointed as Indra. And then he became enchanted by seeing the beauty of the wife of Indra. And then he told her, "Arey, now I am king, I am Indra, you should enjoy with me." She said, "Arey, come on a temporary basis you are made, and my husband will come soon." She says, no, 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 you have to follow me. Then she thought how to avoid him now. So she told, okay, if you come in a palanquin to me, and that palanquin should be carried by the sages, then I will enjoy with you. And this person became so mad in his sukha or success. He called all the sages, and sages thought maybe he want to discuss some important matter. And then he told the sages that all of you have to carry my palanquin to the place of the wife of Indra. And sages became shocked. What you are saying? They said, Arey, I am the king, you have to follow me. And sages carried. Now sages are in goodness and he was in mode of passion. He was haunted by lust. So sages being in mode of goodness, they were walking slow. And he was telling, Sarpa, 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 Jaldi chalo, Jaldi chalo. So Agastya Rishi was one of the sages. And he said, Sarpa, Sarpa, you become Sarpa. And he cursed him. So from there only, he falls down and becomes a snake. So there is a tendency you'll find. Sometimes a person gets a lot of success, then that goes into his head and he becomes distracted, does not understand whom he is dealing with. And sometimes the person gets into so much dukkha that he forgets, his intelligence gets bewildered, and then he commits offenses. We see Sringi when he came to know that his father is put a dead snake. So he became so affected by it, he cursed Parishit Maharaj. So that situation created such a bewilderment to Sringi without thinking who is Parishit Maharaj, without actually thinking why, what happened, and without consulting with his own father. He just spelled out a curse. Even for great devotees like Dhruva, we see when his brother was killed, he went on to Alkapuri to kill and wipe out the whole race of Yakshas. And then later on, Shambhu Manu comes that what you are doing? How come you can, just because one Yaksha killed your brother, how can you take a revenge where you want to kill all the Yakshas? This was displeased Kuvera. Yakshas are devotees of Kuvera. And then Dhruva Maharaj was pacified. So we see that there is a tendency to be too much affected by certain emotions, especially dukkha and sukha in our life. Same way we see there are many examples in the scriptures when sudden misery comes or sudden some situation comes where a person gets a lot of success or happiness, then they get affected and many times they become offensive. So we have to be very careful. Being in the material world, we will also encounter both. There will be situation where we will be suffering, and there will be situation where we will have success, where we will have happiness. So if we get affected by any of them, then also we may lead to offenses. Sometimes a person gets a lot of success. He starts thinking and identifying with the success. And he starts thinking that, oh, I am also a very special person. Like this. So one has to be very careful. Or sometimes when dukkha comes, then person becomes very much affected. Like that how suddenly this dukkha has come in my life. I was quoting this example that how in America, one devotee lost his daughter and he became so affected that he actually couriered the bead back to his spiritual master that I don't want to practice and how Krishna can do like this to me. So to such an extent also people get affected like that. So we have to see that this dukkha and sukha will come, but how we take care of it. So there is one scripture known as Yoga Sutra, which is written by Srila Vyasdev. Yoga Sutra basically means the sutras for any yoga. Like in Kapila Shiksha also, Lord Kapila speaks to Devahuti that mind is the pivot of the senses, and for practicing any yoga, first one has to deal with the mind. So there are certain common principles which are required for making progress on any yoga process. So such principles are mentioned in this Yoga Sutra, and it is written by Srila Vyasadeva himself. So there he talks about that how we can understand about Sukha and Dukkha. So there are three kinds of karma he mentions. They are known as Sanchit karma, Prarabdha karma, and Kriyamana karma. He mentions little in different way. We hear them in different way in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So he says, what is Sanchit karma? Sanchit karma means the go down, where we have a storehouse of karma of so many lives. That is Sanchit karma. Prarabdha karma means the karma which we are using in current life. And Kriyamana karma means the karma which we are doing, or new fresh karma which we are creating in current life. That is Kriyamana karma. So Sanchit karma means you can say that the money in the bank account which you have. That is Sanchit karma. Time and again, money comes and that is stored in your bank account. Prarabdha karma means in this life, from your bank account, some cash is taken out and given to you, that now you can use this cash in this life. That is Prarabdha karma. And Kriyamana karma means in this life, what you are earning more, whatever cash you are getting more. That is Kriyamana karma. So he gives a very nice analogy to understand. So he says, for a person who is an archer, so he will have, in Hindi we call it as tarkas. What do we call in English? The place where he keeps the arrows.
Queer Prabhuji.
Quiver. So he has a quiver. So in that all the arrows are kept. And then, so this cure is known as a Sanchit karma because so many arrows are kept. Then there is a bow. So one of the arrow he takes, and that arrow he puts on the bow. So the arrow which is putting on the bow, that is known as a Prarabdha karma because he is about to use it. That is Prarabdha karma. And all the arrows which are kept behind, that is known as Sanchit karma. The arrow on the bow is known as Prarabdha karma. Now, what is Kriyamana karma? He's making a new arrow. He's making a new arrow. So now the new arrow, for that he has two options. One is either he, after making a new arrow, directly puts on the bow to use it. Or after making a new arrow, he puts it in behind. So the Kriyamana karma either can become a Sanchit karma or can become a Prarabdha karma. Or a part of Kriyamana karma can become a Prarabdha karma and part of it can become a Sanchit karma. So like that, he explains. So in short, what happens is, now this Prarabdha karma which we have, which we take birth with, so because of this, three things are fixed. So he says, Sati mule tad vipako jati ayurbhogaha. So he says these three things are fixed because of prarabdha karma in one's life. Sati mule tad vipako jatir ayurbhogaha. So what are three things which are fixed? He says jati, ayu, and bhoga. So jati means जो नहीं जाती है. So jati means whatever family you are born in, whatever varna you have, whatever color you have, that remains with you. That is jati. So each one of us are born, even in this divine and demonic nature, chapter 16, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Abhijatasya. One is born with divine nature or demonic nature. So as per our prarabdha, we have a certain jati, certain characteristic. So we can't change. Some of us may have more prominence of goodness, more prominence of passion, more prominence of ignorance. We may have certain subhava. So that is jati, like this. Obviously, if someone becomes a pure devotee, then he can change this also. But in general, it is very difficult. Whatever prarabdha we have, as per our jati is, as per that our varna is. And that is the reason why we see in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna telling to whom? Even Arjuna. Now, Arjuna is a great devotee of the Lord. But Krishna telling, Are, you are saying that you will go to forest and not fight. But your subhava is, your jati is Kshatriya. And now you are saying you will not fight, you'll go to forest. And then when in forest, when you'll go for asking alms, bhiksham dehi. And that time if a person, they say that, Are, kahan se subah subah bhikhari aa gaya, bhag yahan se. If the person ridicules you like this, then because of your shubhava of a Kshatriya, you'll become so angry, you will take a shot and you'll kill him on the spot. But then that time it will become adharma. But now you are not able to understand that I am giving you a privilege to engage your subhava in my service, which you are not able to understand. So fight. So that is jati, subhava. Then second is ayu. So our breaths are fixed. So as per what number of breaths each one of us have, so that we can't change. This includes going to Ayurvedic doctor also. This includes taking all kinds of therapy, medicine, panchakarma. Uh, that also is a part of everything, whatever you want to do. So we can do our own part, but we have to know that we have certain ayu, certain health, and that will remain. So we have to do our part, but then two things are important. One thing is we should know ultimately whatever is Lord's desire, that will happen. Second is we should not do anything unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. Suppose, if you go to some Ayurvedic doctor and they say, Are, morning time, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., you should do yoga, then only you'll have a good health. So we can't do yoga because we have to chant the holy names. Or if the Ayurvedic doctor says, Are, you have to drink tea, then only you will have good health. So we know, we try our best, but we know that whatever Lord's desire is, that much I can have health. And second is on the basis of health or on the name of increasing my IU or health, I can't compromise on my spiritual life because as per prarabdha, certain health I will have. Sometimes you'll find a rich family who are giving Horlicks, Bournvita, Kaju, Pista, Badam to their kids, and still they are very thin, and sometimes they may die in the young age. And sometimes you'll find people who are in slum areas where they are sleeping in a place where everywhere there are mosquitoes. They don't have mosquito net also. They are drinking water which is very dirty. Still, you will find them having a good body and they may live a long life. So we have to know that this prarabdha plays a very important role. Sometimes you'll find some devotees, they'll keep changing doctor after doctor, but then their health remains like that only. So this does not mean we don't do our part. We can do our part, but we have to know that prarabdha is there. We have to know that prarabdha will play a role like this. And as per prarabdha, we'll have certain life. Sometimes you'll find very thin, unhealthy people, they live a long life. And sometimes we find very good health, good body, they die early. So that's how the ayu is. And third very important aspect is bhoga. Bhoga means sukh and dukh. They are also, they come as per our prarabdha. So one should not become too affected or too unhappy when sukha and dukkha they come, because they will come. And whatever prarabdha as per that, whatever dukkha is supposed to come, it will come. If we become too affected by it, then we may commit offenses like this. So we have to know that whatever prarabdha we have done or whatever karma we have, as per that certain situations in our life, they will come. And we have to tolerate them. In Bhagavatam also, two places Prahlad Maharaj talks about it. One is this verse which he says, Sukhamendriyakam detya dehi yogena dehinam sarvatra labhyate devad yatha dukham ayatnataha. Very nice. What he's saying is, Sukham endriyakam detya deha yogena dehinam sarvatra labhyate devad yatha dukham ayatnataha. So very beautifully saying that how the happiness perceived with reference to sense object comes automatically like dukkham ayatnatah, like dukkha comes without any effort. And how it happens? Sarvatra labhate deva. Everywhere we are under the influence of our prarabdha. As per that prarabdha, sukha will come and dukkha will come. Then another verse is where he says, सुखाय दुख मोक्षाय संकल्पेह कर्मिणः सदा सदाप्नोति हाय दुःखम अनिहाय सुखावृतः. Here again he says that we get some happiness and we get some distress. And the moment you start working hard to increase your happiness, your distress increases. So he says, as per your prarabdha, sukha dukkha will come. And if you try to make some changes, you can make changes. In what regard? That you can increase your dukkha. If you want to make any more changes to whatever comes, then you can make. What will happen is your dukkha will increase. You see, that's how the translation is. In the material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminishes distress. And therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his condition of distress begins. So here also again he says same thing, that as per prarabdha, sukha and dukkha will come. There is one verse which is spoken by Sridhar Swami in this regard, that's also very nice. So he says, so this is a verse by Sridhar Swami. So he says, अप्रार्थतानि दुःखानि यथेव आयन्ति देहिना सुखानि अपि तथा मन्ये देन अत्र थि रच्यते. So what he is saying, अप्रार्थतानि दुखानि. सो अप्रार्थतानि दुखानि मतलब कि मैं दुख के लिए कोई प्रार्थना नहीं कर रहा हूं या मेहनत नहीं कर रहा हूं, अपने आप आ रहा है. यथेव आयन्ति देहिनाम सुखानि अपि, उसी प्रकार से सुख भी आएगा. फिर क्या बता रहे हैं, अपि तथा मन्ये देन अतृति रिच्यते. मैं तो ये सोच रहा हूं फिर लोग मेहनत क्यों कर रहे हैं. Like that he's saying that without prarthana, aprarthani dukhani yatheva आयंती देहिनम सुखानी अपि तथा when मन्य देन अत्रति रुच्यते फिर भी लोग आईटी कंपनी में जा रहे हैं, फिर भी लोग मेहनत कर रहे हैं, ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. लाइक दैट इज सेइंग लाइक दैट. So we have to know that as per this it comes. So in Bhagavatam, what is the verse? Bhagavatam says, Tatenu kampa suvikshamanuhu susamikshamanuhu. So tatenu kampa susamikshamanuhu. भुंजान एवात भुंजान एवात. So that's why what Krishna says is that when dukkha comes in a life of a devotee, so samiksha, samiksha मतलब कि देखना, समीक्षा करना. Like whenever some disease happens, we do samiksha, that why I got this disease. That is samiksha. And susamiksha means बहुत गहराई से देखना. So what the Lord is saying is that my devotees, they don't get affected by samiksha. They do susamiksha. And when they do susamiksha, then they understand, bhunjan evatma, ये तो मेरा ही कर्म है. So when dukkha comes, they don't get affected by the immediate causes around. They don't get affected by the immediate situation around or the immediate people around. When they look deep, then they understand it's my own karma which is coming. And then what they do is tatenu kampa suvikshamano bhunjan evatma kita vipakam. They express their gratitude to Krishna that thank you, my dear Lord, for giving me this dukkha. Like this. So Srila Jiva Goswami, our acharyas have given a lot of commentary on this verse. Srila Jiva Goswami, he says, if we accept dukkha without reacting, then that prarabdha goes. So if dukkha comes and we just accept without reacting, then that reaction, that karma is exhausted. That karma goes. Like that Srila Jiva Goswami says. Srila Rupa Goswami, he says that when dukkha comes, the devotee is grateful. Why? He says because for a genuine devotee, dukkha is his greatest friend, because that helps him to remember Krishna. So he says, why devotee becomes very happy? Devotee says, my dear Lord, क्या बात है, नौकरी चला गया, बीवी चला गया, घर में आग लग गया, अब तो बचा ही क्या है भगवान, अब तो बस हरे कृष्णा करें. So Rupa Goswami says, a genuine devotee becomes very happy when dukkha comes. Why? Because he knows that in this situation, materially it is unfavorable, but spiritually it is very favorable. So because genuine devotee is looking for spiritual life, so when dukkha comes, he becomes very happy. But my dear Lord, thank you for giving this in my life. मुझे डर लग रहा था कहीं आप जो है डिवोटी के कारण जो है मेरा दुखा कम ना कर दो, लेकिन बहुत अच्छा आप भर भर के दे रहे हैं, और जो है मैं इस दुख को यूज करके और कृष्णा कॉन्शियस बन जाऊंगा. So like that, Rupa Goswami says, a devotee is grateful, knowing, thinking that, Are, dukkha is my great friend. In dukkha, I can remember Krishna. So devotee, instead of becoming disturbed, who becomes disturbed in dukkha? Who have material aspirations. Who becomes happy in dukkha, grateful in dukkha? Who has spiritual aspiration. So because devotee has a spiritual aspiration, he does not become unhappy in dukkha. He becomes happy in dukkha. And he sees an opportunity to go more closer to Krishna. So that's why he with gratitude expresses that, my dear Lord, thank you for giving this situation in my life. Now I can properly turn to you. That is the reason you see Parshit Maharaj, when being cursed to die after 7 days, he is thanking the Lord that, thank you, my dear Lord. Something like this was required on my part to become detached from all the opulence and the kingdom which I had. It is your great mercy which has come in the form of this curse. That's how devotee sees. Now I can just depend on you. Anga Maharaj, when he got a son who was notorious, he is thanking Lord, thank you, my dear Lord. If I was not given a son like him, I would not have become detached. But it is your great mercy that I got a son like this and I became detached. So you see, for a genuine spiritual practitioners, dukkha becomes a turning point in their life. Dukkha becomes a stepping stone in their life. And then they go more closer to Krishna. That's why Kunti Maharani is saying, Vipta Tantu Saswat. That, my dear Lord, let misery come again and again, because those miseries, they turn me towards Krishna, like that. But if we become, first thing is, we should not become disturbed. Why? Knowing well that it is not that Krishna is, especially giving some dukkha to us. It is our own karma, bhunjan evatma. And the people around, they are just becoming instrument. So we don't have to blame others. They're just becoming instrument. It is our own karma coming. Second thing is, this is an opportunity for a spiritualist to go more deeper in his spiritual life, to take more shelter of Krishna. So in that way, devotee is very grateful. So neither he becomes disturbed, knowing well that it is my own karma coming, why to become disturbed? And second is, he sees that an opportunity to take more shelter of Krishna. So he is very grateful. And obviously, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that for a devotee, Lord reduces his karma and Lord uses his karma to facilitate his spiritual life. That means for a devotee, dukkha is there, which is supposed to come as per our prarabdha. But now, because we are practicing devotees, Krishna will give dukkha as much and at a time which will help us to go more closer to Krishna. So that's why devotee is very careful. For a materialist, his dukkha comes just like that as per his prarabdha. But for us, Krishna is facilitating our dukkha also to facilitate our spiritual life. So devotee is very grateful that, thank you, my dear Lord, that you are bringing this situation. And the moment devotee turns towards Krishna, through that dukkha, through that situation, Krishna shows to his devotee that how it is his mercy and how this is a great opportunity to turn to him. When Vidura was told by Duryodhan that you get out from here, now just imagine Vidura for whole life he served there. Now he is old, and that time he is banished. But then Vidura turned to Krishna and he understood, oh, this is a situation by Krishna. Now I can just go and meet sadhus. I can just associate with sadhus. And I can absorb myself in remembering Krishna. Like that. So you have to know that how dukkha, they are carriers of Krishna's mercy in the form of opportunity to remember him. So neither a devotee becomes disturbed, knowing well, bhunjan evatma, this is my own karma. And devotee is grateful. Why? Because this is opportunity to go closer to Krishna. Krishna is facilitating my prarabdha to come closer to him. So devotee does not become. Whenever dukkha comes, if we react very quickly, so quick reaction is always a mundane reaction. So we should never react quickly. Whenever dukkha comes, what we should do is, su samikshamanaha, think about it, why it has happened. what lesson Krishna wants to teach me. And then we understand that, oh, this is the lesson Krishna wants to uh, teach me, like that. Sometimes we are caught in so many problems of this world, we forget to think of Krishna. So Krishna brings some dukkha so that we are reminded, oh, Krishna also is there. Like, there was an engineer who was working below and he had his engineering helmet and he was talking to the laborers and all. I told you how to work like this. Why you did not function like this? And then from behind one stone comes and hits on his helmet. And he says, Are, what happened? From where this has come? But he's so caught again, he's saying, I told you how to work like this. Why you're not functioning like this? Again, a stone comes and hits. And then he looks above. And then the manager tells him, Come above. And then he goes above. And then manager says, Actually, I want to thank you for all the services which you did. This is a gift package for you. So same way, sometimes God brings some misery. And we may feel, why God is doing like this? But God wants to give us some more deeper realizations. So devotee knows that because we are practicing devotees, we are under the shelter of Krishna. So we should not become too disturbed. We should see that how it is my own karma coming and it is bringing great lesson for me to come closer to Krishna. Hare Krishna. So next class we'll discuss about Sukha. Today we'll discuss about Dukkha.